Man, what's shaking? This is Matty Crypto. Welcome to the Pulsechain Podcast. I've got a special guest. A lot of you guys in the Hexagon Pulsechain community will recognize Kylr. He is an American actor. I'm going to have to ask him about this. What the heck is a African? This guy's from Oklahoma. He's been in a lot of streams lately. I had a chance to see him at the first Pulsechain conference in Vegas. And the more I look into this guy, I want to know who he is. He's an actor. Some of you may be familiar with the short film called Geo. We're going to get into that. I want to see how he got involved in Hex, a little bit about his childhood, what his future is going to be. So let's get him in here. Kylr, how's it going, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So it's been a few days. I've been looking around. Some friends of mine, I saw you on Crypto Heartbeat's channel and Discord Syndicate. I just wanted to get more of a personal vibe from you, try to find out a little more about your history, your childhood, where you grew up. But I mentioned here on your bio, this is Kylr Coffman. Can you tell us what African is?
Yeah, it's me. I am half black, half white, African American.
Okay.
Yeah, I look like if they sold white kids on the shelf, I'd be first edition in Target. What's up? But no, my dad is black and my mom is white. So I was just having a little fun. I
love it, man. I love it. And so it's funny, no matter what race you are, if you're half of something, that it kind of fits. A African you can be white. So, speaking of your childhood, this was really interesting. I mentioned Crypto Heartbeats live stream I saw you on. It was great, by the way. He's a fantastic guy. You had a pretty rough, kind of a challenging childhood, maybe. I wanted to give people kind of a glimpse into who you were as a kid. You didn't have, I guess, the most stable start to your life. You mentioned that you grew up without a father present, and your mother was really young when you were born. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. All those are facts, yeah. My mom had me at about 15. She dropped out of high school to do it kind of all on her own. From what I understood or was told, my dad bailed out when I was around like 2-ish or something, but it was so early that I just don't ever remember him. But it's all I knew. So looking back, I'm like, oh, wow, that was kind of a lot, but I'm so thankful. Because I always had my mom. That's what I always say is like, as long as I have 0.01% of my mom's blood in my veins, I can accomplish anything, because I watched her do everything, never playing the victim, never being like, oh, this happened to me. She just got up, went to work, and did everything so that I could have a shot at doing something more than just, trading my time for money.
Oh, and how important is that? You mentioned having a stable mom like that with that attitude. It's really easy, especially in today's age, for people to have that victim mentality. And man, that's a rough hand of cards to be dealt for your father to not be present at all. Wow, hats off. You must be a special kind of mom. I'm glad you were raised that way. It's easy to give up in situations like that and lean on other people, which I guess you should do. But for you to not, like, it's all relative, honestly. It's what you are growing up in, that is your normal. So people like yourself, if you grew up into that and your mom is loving, you got a good, framework of family around you, then that's just your normal. It's kind of your default position. Some people can have a great stable family and that's all they know. Other people can be in an orphanage or on the streets, and that's kind of all they know.
That's one thing I think that was for sure passed down upon me, is just like, you can only just like really control so much and like, go take care of the things that you can take care of. And what else, like, why complain about it?
Yeah, I look back when I was 15, when I first heard that you say about your family, I'm like, man, when I was 15, I was, it's so young looking back at the time when you're 15, 16, even 17, graduating high school and stuff. You just think that what's going on. You think you've lived enough and you're a young adult, but man, you are so young at 15. So to have a child and to go through that, again, it's hats off to your mom. I'd love to give her a big handshake one day. So that's awesome.
Thanks.
And how about fast forward to like when you were in middle school, you're at high school age. Who was Kylr? Like, what were you into when you were really young?
For better or for worse, I still have a lot of the similar interests, and I'm still waiting for my crazy energy to leave my body, but I'm still spastic. Skateboarding, middle school, that's all I cared about, skateboarding. It was the first love of my life. That's really all that I cared about was skateboarding. Actor was not on my radar. I didn't know a single person. I was just here in a small town in Oklahoma, just growing up. I think I had what some consider a pretty normal childhood, I guess.
Okay. You know, I was looking at that, the Geo, and like we'll get into that in a second here, but it got me down a rabbit hole on YouTube looking at skaters. And I noticed that a lot of skaters, especially prominent skaters, they don't wear helmets. And it freaks me out. I was in the medical field for a long time. We got to see a lot of head injuries. Do you know why? Like, how about you? Do you wear a helmet all the time?
I need to start, especially after doing this film. There's no I mean, I guess if anything, it's just because it looks cool not to wear a helmet.
Right.
I is the main thing, but I mean, you do learn how to fall, and those traumatic little head injuries are super rare, but when they do happen, they're so crazy. And so after being connected to so Geo, the short film, is based off the true story of a skateboarder who recovered from a traumatic brain injury from a nearly fatal fall. And unfortunately, Geo, the real life Geo, Georgie, he passed away a year after his brain surgery from an aneurysm. And on his behalf, we've been doing these charity things, and all the money is going to this guy named Jared Hager, who is a skateboarder who's also suffered a traumatic brain injury. And so, yeah, now it hits really close to home, and I think about wearing a helmet a lot more because after learning about these guys' stories, just how delicate it is. So
Yeah, it's
delicate.
brutal, man. It's rough. And I see them, going down steps and stuff, like lots and lots of flights of steps. I'm sitting there just cringing. I know, you get to a certain level and the standard, and you get super confident, and you, like you said, it doesn't look very cool, and it may get in the way, and it sweats, and your hair's all over the place. But wow, it freaks me out. So I just wanted to ask you, just on a personal level, like, why is there a reason like these guys don't wear helmets? But I guess it makes sense. But I guess once you get into you get a fall like that, it really hits home, like you're saying, like, wow, I know someone that had this, traumatic brain injury. And yeah, let's get into that. I want to talk about Geo, but first I wanted to ask, as far as your acting, like, how were you when you first thought about acting?
Like I said, I grew up not knowing a single actor. My favorite movies were like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan movies. I was all the kung fu
Ooh.
stuff. I didn't know a single actor. I took a drama class after middle school because this girl I was talking to in middle school wanted to do drama when we were starting high school, and I was like, oh, well, I want to be in the same class as her because, But then over summer, like most middle school relationships, it fell apart. But it was meant to be. And then we didn't even have the same class, so I really took drama class for a girl and didn't even get to hang out with her. And then yeah. The drama
You had to
teacher.
start somewhere, though, man. That's a funny story. It'd have been great if you'd have, had a relationship with her and can trace it back to your
No,
acting
no.
roots.
I'm happy how things happen though. But I was just I still am a little bastard. I'll just be honest. I'm really good at hiding it, but I was always like the kid who got sent out in the hall. I would just always do just something.
Mischievous.
I don't want to get canceled or whatever because middle school Kylr was just no filter. Just God, I cringe so hard thinking back about myself. And then my high school teacher, my high school drama teacher, she was the first teacher who didn't send me out into the hall. She was like, you know what, I'm going to actually give you responsibility. And what I learned was like with theater, it doesn't matter if you're the lead of the play or if you're opening the curtain. If you don't open the curtain, you can't see the show. Like every little piece matters. And it was the first time that I had like a purpose. I think that somebody had trusted me with something like that. And if I dropped the ball, I dropped the ball on my peers as well. And when you're in high school, you don't want to get made fun of even more than you are. So I don't know. It was just the first time that I had a responsibility to other people. And that was my first little door in because theater is so inviting. Everybody has a home. It sounds so corny, but yeah.
Once you get passionate about something like that, it's pretty fun to watch someone that you grew up with or you see in school, how different they can be on stage when they take it seriously. My nephew was on stage. He went through high school and college in theater, one of his majors, and it was awesome. You know someone all your life, and then you go see him on the stage. It's like, who is this guy? The makeup and this role, and they're so different. So I love it. I think it's fascinating. It's something I could never do. Got a lot of respect for actors, especially people that have a real passion for this, is just kind of who they are. This movie, Geo, I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to show the trailer here in a second, but what is Geo? What's it about exactly? And how did you get involved in it?
Yeah, so with Geo, it's a based on the true story. Like I said, it's based on the true. All right, let me start off clean. So Geo is based on the true story of a real life skateboarder named Georgie Tsushima who hit his head. He was skateboarding. He was never supposed to walk again. He suffered from a traumatic brain injury. He actually almost died from his fall. And Geo was never supposed to walk again. He was never supposed to get out of bed. But against all odds, like in that picture right there, you can see there's kind of a baby jumper.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's tied around my chest. Geo made a real life jumper like that to teach himself to skate again, and there's real life footage of him doing it. So it's one of the most incredible and inspiring stories. And I might sound biased, but I can just subjectively say from seeing the real life footage of the real Geo, he's the man, and I feel so thankful to be a part of this, let alone to play a role inspired by him.
Yeah, that's something else I heard you say in another stream. You were talking about something a moment, I guess, in the film that helped shape your role. You said it gave you inspiration. You mentioned how powerful that was to see him struggle, I guess, in that harness. It would really hit home how deep this role is for you when you can actually see someone like you're seeing real footage of this guy who was, healthy guy, great skateboarder. Now all of a sudden he's in this harness, just trying to stand on a board. Was that like a really big moment for you as far as like taking on the role and the personality of him?
It's hard for me to put it into words. Just like, it was bigger than everything. It was bigger than acting. It was bigger than Hollywood. It was bigger than myself. It was bigger than anybody on set. Because if you saw the real life footage, and then when we created specifically that scene with the jumper, it felt like we were in church, or we were just somewhere spiritual, and it felt like Geo was with us. I cannot put it into words. I've tried so many times. I feel so very, very, very thankful that I got to do this.
Is it true that, I don't know if this is something I heard or maybe on a stream or something, that his best friend, did he actually direct or produce Geo?
Yeah. So Darren was the director of the film, and he was the director.
Okay.
Him and Geo were real life best friends.
Man, I guess to tell a story really well, true stories are always fantastic. And if it's acted well, it's so much more inspirational and passionate when you can feed off of a real life person. If they were around or if they passed, you got good friends that can talk about that. But man, to have a guy's best friend go over that kind of stuff would have been amazing. I want to play this trailer. It's only a minute or so long. You mentioned here on the screen, it said award-winning, I guess, from some short film awards. It's won a couple of awards now. Is that right?
Yes, it has. And we are about to go through the whole film festival circuit as well, so that will be really exciting.
Oh, nice. When does that start, Kylr?
The producers and stuff have submitted to a couple, so we're just waiting to hear back. And yeah, we're gonna hear probably back within the next couple of months.
Okay, I'm gonna hit this trailer one time.
There's a sense of freedom in being able to just grab your skateboard and cruise. I miss that so much.
Ames high school graduate and former Iowa State student was living his dream in California, working for a skateboard shoe company. His career was sidetracked by a traumatic brain injury he suffered while skateboarding.
Gio, can you hear me?
It's left Georgie with severe deficits that will last the rest of his life, as the brain doesn't regenerate with time. The road to recovery isn't a week, a month, and oftentimes not even a year before he will be back to where he was, assuming he can even get back to where he was.
I spent so many hours believing everything would be mended. Smiling, learning, hoping someday my life would magically change.
Let's go, bro!
How's the head feeling? I'm good. Still alive.
Get better so you can get redemption.
I was waiting for anything that gave me back what I had lost.
Georgie, you have a severe head injury. I don't think you should be talking about skateboarding, ever.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Man, it looks so well done. Like the quality of it. This is a short film. How long is it, Kylr?
It's like 24, 25 minutes.
Man, I mean, you as an actor looking at this, like the production quality, like how does this rank? Like to a layman, this looks like a regular movie.
Yeah, I just feel very thankful. Sorry, it always makes me really emotional just to see that stuff. It still sits so close to home with me. But yeah, I just feel so thankful. The whole team really came together. Most of us, like at times, were working for free. I only got paid for the initial Iowa like production, all the stuff in like the doctor's office or in LA, like where that picture was taken. A lot of the voiceover. Like I just did it for free. We all were kind of working for free under really horrible conditions. And I feel completely comfortable with you posting this because I hope the director watches this and that it lights a fire under his ass, because you see right there, that is Jared Hager. He is contributing, and that's his neurologist, Dr. Blue. I've spoken to him. Jared is contributing research for the very thing that killed Gio. We are raising funds to help to help people like Gio. And not only that, to help brain health in general. And it's so very important to me. And as I said before, Darren, the director of this film, Gio was his friend. Darren completely abused everybody on set. He violated contracts. He's completely abandoned the project. Have produced my own film premiere. All this charity stuff I'm doing completely on my own behalf. I'm getting zero help from him for the very thing that took the life of his best friend. There are times where it feels like he made this film for himself. I am completely comfortable with you posting all of this because I hope that he watches this and that he proves me wrong and that he steps up to the plate and he helps me, make some changes, because I have a great opportunity for him and everybody in the film to help raise awareness and funds for the very thing that killed Gio. So,
man, that's powerful to hear, dude. I had no idea. I know a lot of people probably have no idea about that.
Well, I know, and it's like very all drama and stuff. I should probably bite my tongue on certain things, but I love Gio so much that on his behalf, I do not mind stirring the pot and potentially even losing some friendships, because based off of what I've seen from certain people, mainly the director Darren, is I don't really need his friendship. And then even going forward, like I don't have to say too much of anything, but I feel completely confident that I can take this film and do whatever I need to with it, with or without his help.
And it's a really important story too. This is a human story. I mean, the guy here, you mentioned Gio, but the guy that we're talking about here has got a real traumatic brain injury too. And the amount of research that he has given and these doctors have done, just this one guy, it's almost unprecedented. As far I was reading about this,
it is. So I don't mean to cut you off. It just
no. Tell us about it.
It is unprecedented. Jared Hager, right there, that implant that's being held up. No other person has that in their skull. It's completely clear. And before he got that, he was living without a piece of skull in his brain. Jared was, which is allowed for a new type of brain scanning that has never been done before. So Jared has one of the most mapped out human brains in history. He's like in the history books in neurology. So what he's doing is unprecedented. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just it's so amazing to me. These people are absolutely incredible, and I just, especially Jared, something that I get so emotional. He texted me like I had just got connected to him maybe about like 3 weeks ago, maybe now a month in total. Mm-hmm. We were going to donate these funds to a foundation, but then we got connected to Jared, and it was just like no brainer, pun. It has to, yeah, the funds have to go to him. And he had a seizure about like 2 weeks ago for the first time in like a year. And his response is just like, oh, nobody's invincible. He's just such a trooper. But that's the very thing that killed Gio, was just a spasm one night. It just took him out. And so it freaks me out. So I just feel such an obligation to do something so immediately for these people, because you never know. Life is so fickle.
Yeah. I mean, it really is precious. I mentioned working in the medical field a long time, and it's nothing to go your whole shift in an ER and you're taking care of people, and all of a sudden, bam, within a second, you got a trauma case that's life threatening, and to see people, die right in front of you, it's brutal, man. And to do imaging on people that have injuries like this, lots of car accidents, lots of traumatic stuff on, motorcycles and skateboards and stuff. It's amazing how frail and fragile we are as humans, especially when you're young. You just don't think anything about it. It's so cliche to think that you're invincible and to say that about young people, but it really is true. We do some silly, silly stuff. And most of the stuff we do is out of our control. But I mean, it drives a nail in how serious life is. When you're talking about situations like you're talking about, this guy, Jared, one day your brain is functioning great and you're skateboarding. And Gio, same way. And 2 seconds later, you're in a hospital bed and half your skull's gone. It's crazy how amazing and how unforgiving, I guess, life can be sometimes. So you mentioned also about you're in the process. Are you creating a studio in Oklahoma for like auditions for people? I know you mentioned that, LA is just, I mean, it's a cesspool. It's a mess. It's really difficult for young actors to get there. You just get bombarded by so much trash. Are you creating something like that in Oklahoma for people to audition?
It's like I would love to have it up and running now. I was kind of just talking. It's definitely on my plan, on my radar, what I would love to do. I, of course, just have to gain, financial freedom and everything first. Humble enough to admit, I'm still working towards things. But so T-Rob Kinetics, well, everybody in Crypto Heartbeat, everybody, they always wonder, like, oh, how do you, I'm not trying to get political and stuff, but just how do you get people from getting sucked into, that mess that is out all there, on the coasts.
Right.
And for me, I know how. You stop kids from going there. That's how you stop them from having to go there and get sucked into that and into just those very terrible things. And so the way for me is, I know now after the pandemic, all auditions are self-tapes. I don't have to go into a casting office. That's why I'm able to be in Oklahoma right now, hanging out with my family. I'll be back in LA. I was just there, but I'm able to be back and forth. I can be anywhere. So if kids here have a facility and they have somebody like me that can bridge the gap and connect them with agents and managers, they can teach them how the self-tapes are supposed to look, how auditions are supposed to look, can give them good on-camera classes, it can stop them from having to go to LA right away. They can get their footing here. They don't have to go and get sucked into all that crap. And so that is something that I really, really want to do. And also because out here in Oklahoma, it's so new. And the film industry is really, really starting to kind of blow up. Martin Scorsese's latest film shot here. And I want to set the standard. I want Oklahoma to be able to compete. I want there to be good local actors that are ready for the roles that are coming here. And so it's just such this big thing. And I know somebody else is going to do it, and they're not going to be able to do it as good as I can.
It's great to have options too, like you're saying. Like if someone, really thought the only choice was to go to LA or New York, to now have maybe someone who knows you or seen one of your films, or to know somebody in Oklahoma that says, wait a second, you got this option, check this out. Because I mean, probably half the country would love to have that option, as opposed to going to LA and getting mixed up in a lot of bad stuff. So I love it, man. I think it's fantastic. And, come to me if you ever want to reach out to people or use me for anything, or the Pulsechain Podcast or my channel. I would love to spread what you're doing, man. I really believe in it.
Appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. What are we looking at right here? NFT.
Okay, so that's just a little sneak peek. I hate NFTs. 99% all trash, right? Yep. But there's an amazing artist called Fully Croissant in the Hex community. He's absolutely incredible. That piece is going to be made in motion. So that is Jared, actually. And if you can see, we're highlighting his clear implant there. He actually has the Geo board.
Oh, yeah. I just noticed that. That's cool, man.
Yeah, the shirt that he's wearing is called AV. That's Kyle Walker, the skater, his clothing brand. The board is the Geo logo, like the one that we're auctioning off. And then he's doing a hard flip, which is Jared's favorite trick. And the NFT will be completely in motion, so it's not just going to be a JPEG.
Okay.
And with that, it's a whole future thing, but whoever gets that will get a board as well, not signed, to keep these signed ones special. And then they'll also get a copy of the film, so it's not just a photo or an art piece. And then all those proceeds will go to Jared, but that's in like a week or two. Right now, I'm focusing on the boards.
Now, is that NFT, Kylr, going to be a one of one? It's only
one of one. So that's why it's not like these stupid little monkey pictures. It really is a special digital art piece that is one of one.
I don't know if you realize this, but I've got this NFT. This whole world, this medieval world called Letheus, and the whole purpose was to bring real artists to the forefront and actually let artists who truly can draw, like pen and paper art, actual artists. If NFTs are going to be a thing, I want those kind of artists to be popular and their work to get out there. So we got that in common as well. I'd love to talk to you about that maybe in the future. What else we got here, Kylr? I'm trying to find this movie, actually. I don't know if it's a short film or a movie. It's called Rooms. Were you in that?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know why that credit's on my IMDb.
Yeah, I think it's in 2017. I was trying to find like the earliest stuff that you were in, and then that came up as the earliest, like in 2017. So I was like,
yeah, that was. I was like, I was not. I was supposed to just be like a helping out on the set or something, but no, I'm so sorry. So I'm the worst about keeping track about what I've done. My family will see things and they'll be like, oh, you didn't tell us that you were on this. Thanks for telling us. So I'll completely forget. I'll just book things, and once I'm done, it's gone. Yeah, that was my first film, I think, and I got like my SAG card and everything from that. That was a little short.
You forgot your first film?
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
I forgot the name of it. So that was that. And then my first job ever, though, was a Google commercial. Yeah, a Google commercial. And then I got that Rooms thing. And then my first TV credit was this TV show called Major Crimes on TNT.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those are my first couple of jobs.
And then there's a couple of them that are like Emmy nominees, or did one of the it was Glow.
Yeah, Glow got nominated for Emmy and stuff, and it's best stunt ensemble, and my person was a skateboarder, so I was doing my own stunts and stuff, so I got included in that. Not all my credits are on there too. Now that I'm looking on that, I need to contact my team. There's like 3 or 4 little indies missing, and
I just want to give people kind of a little synopsis to.
Oh yeah, no, it's important. I need to look at this stuff a lot more. I focus way too much on the art.
If anybody wants to check that out, it's IMDb. And your name is pretty rare. Is this, or rare for me, the KYLR? Is this like a family thing, or are there other people that also use Kylr this spelling?
Not that I've met. That's just how my name's spelled. My joke is. You want to hear my joke?
Yeah, hit me.
We couldn't afford any vowels.
You were so poor you couldn't afford a vowel.
Yeah. That's what I say pretty much every time. It always lands. But yeah, so that's just my name. It's just how it is. The one thing I know that my dad gave me, it came from him.
So to wrap up, I guess the acting side of this, give me 3 veteran actors that you feel are super talented.
Man, it's such a hard question. Barry Quinoa, whatever, the guy who he came in as the Joker at the very end of the new Batman film, but he's an incredible actor. He's an Irish.
I don't think I know him.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I don't know. It's so hard for me to be overly critical of people now because I know just how hard it is. I really love everybody. I want to work with somebody. If I can say anything about acting, I will do a magic trick for you. You might have seen it. It's one of my favorite things to do for people.
Yeah, do it.
So pay attention to this chain, okay?
Okay.
I'm not going to hypnotize you. It's okay. Don't pay attention to my hand. Don't look at my baby blue eyes. Look at the chain, okay?
All right,
I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. All right, Matty,
Okay.
what were you just thinking about?
Chain moving side to side.
All right. Did y'all hear that? He was thinking about the chain moving side to side. Matty was not thinking about, when is this bear market going to end? He wasn't thinking, when's Pulsechain going to launch? He wasn't thinking, and I always have to go here, he wasn't thinking that he's going to lose a loved one day. I believe that no matter who you are, no matter what color your skin is, no matter how rich, how poor, no matter how tall, how short you are, we all feel the pain of life. Like, we all feel the weight of it. It's completely subjective. We all feel some type of pressure. And so me as an artist, and anybody as an artist, that's something beautiful that we get to do. We get to be like that chain, and we get to take somebody's attention off of that heavy weight. We get to take that weight of life off of their shoulders for just a second, and it's a magic trick beyond words to me.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and that's how I feel about movies too. You go to a movie, especially one it's kind of you get engrossed with, and you do, man. You forget about everything, and people do that with binge watching, even like Netflix and stuff.
Yeah, and then the next level though of the master trick, the master level of it. And I'm okay if this doesn't always happen, but I know that it's possible, especially through Geo. You can take people right to their trauma, right to the thing that's creating the weight on them, and make them feel like, hey, I'm not alone. Somebody else is feeling this on this planet. And that is the ultimate level of it. So you don't always have to distract. Sometimes if you really know what you're doing, you can take people right to it and comfort them and heal.
Nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. I think that resonates with people a lot.
Yeah, well, because for me, there's this really great book called Start With Why. And for me, it's just, why am I doing anything? Why is it? That's all I think about. Why do I have to do this? Why are they making me do this? What is causing this? Why? Just why? And so if I didn't have a purpose behind everything that I did, I wouldn't do it. And I do meet so many people that don't have a purpose, and they get really burnt out. So I think it's important to have one.
Yeah, find the thing that you're meant to do. It's tough. I know most people, the majority of people, go through a 9 to 5 and they do their job and they come home. They may have kids, and we're meant for so much more than that, to work 30, 40 years at a job that we may not even like very much. So find your purpose, surround yourself with good friends. That's what I always say. You got to have this little core of people, even if it's 2 or 3 people, and rub off on each other. So that was a great way to end the acting segment of this. How about as far as crypto, Kylr? What was the first year that you got into crypto at all?
I think I've been in now year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay.
I've been in now for almost 2 years. Yeah, the first thing I really bought was Hex. I got so lucky. I think I'm a pretty good investor. My track record's pretty sweet.
I'm so envious of people who their first investment is Hex. I've been in crypto. Gosh, I heard about it 2010. And one day I'll have to go to that story. I've told a few people on streams about that. It was a nightmare. But lots of, bull and bears and up and down. These cycles are crazy. But to be young and to find out Hex, even now, we're still so early. But for you to find out about a year and a half ago, man, it's incredible, that kind of timing. What exactly got you interested in Hex? How did you hear about it?
Like, let me give you layman terms, baby steps of how I got into it. I never cared about investing. I thought crypto was super cringe because I thought, all these finance bros. I just didn't. There's something gross about it. And there still are. You see them, all the crypto bros. They're kind of cringy. People without purpose who are just trying to get rich for what sake. Anyways, I was just always such an artsy person. I thought capitalism was so bad. Capitalism is horrible. I've learned a lot. So the thing that got me into crypto, and I implore every artist to look at this, and this is why I think, and I'd argue with Richard on this. I will straight up argue with Richard on this. You guys don't see where NFTs are headed with the technology. What got me into it was thinking, say that you're a really popular artist like Travis Scott or somebody, and you drop an album. Well, what you can do with that is you can, in the metaverse, you can create, like, say in your house you have a custom meet and greet, and you have a one-of-one room that you just have to have a key to get into that's playing exclusive music videos, that has exclusive wall art on there. There are things that you can interact with in the metaverse or digital verse, whatever you want to call it. I know people hate the term metaverse, but it was just a way to monetize 3D art. And I just realized that was so huge because I want to create experiences for people as an artist. And I want to be able to, you can monetize that. You can pass that on. So if somebody buys that and it's attached to a charity every single time that's sold, there's so many cool things that can go along with that once the technology is there. We're just not there yet. The stupid
Right.
JPEGs and all that stuff.
And you're a musician as well, Kyle. I've seen you got a guitar in your hand. You got a drum kit.
Yeah, I like to play music. So in my mind, like if I truly had the time, I want to create a completely immersive thing. And so here's another thing. Anthony Hopkins, one of his latest films was released as an NFT the year after he won an Oscar. So the very next film that Oscar-winning actor did got turned into an NFT. So technology is heading there. There's going to be a lot of things. And so I just think artists need to look at it. And so that's what initially caught my interest, was just like the whole VR stuff. And then I thought about it, like that's where movies are potentially heading. And I'll say this on stream because it'd be cool if this comes true in like 10, 15 years. I think flat movies on a screen are going to be like seeing opera, and it's going to take very, very smart people to make movies, because I don't want to have to be like somebody running around with a VR headset to experience a movie. I want you to be able to sit down right here and then it starts and you're like locked up in the back of a Conestoga wagon and you're looking at these cowboys throwing cigarettes at you or something. Like it needs to be something where you can sit down but you go through the motions.
Like an immersive kind of movie, smell-o-vision kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I feel like that could really be the future, but it's going to take a lot of work to make that.
I would love that, man. Talk about an experience where you could actually, like tangible stuff would be great.
I didn't know you could make money like this. I didn't know about investing or assets. So it was not even on my radar. I really was like, had the realization, oh, wait, I could one day probably monetize being a Pokemon trainer. Like if I catch a Charmander and I train it up to be a Charizard, and then there's some other little snobby kid who doesn't want to take the time to train their Pokemon up, he's just going to buy mine. And I can take that Pokecoin and turn it into US dollar. Like I could literally be a Pokemon trainer in real life. That is going to happen. Yeah, when I had that realization, I was like, this stuff is pretty cool. And then I started to learn about like the whole games and like investing and stuff. But the first crypto I ever bought was Hex. So I feel very, very lucky. I feel like my track record is pretty cool. So Warren Buffett can suck it. But see, I didn't even understand when somebody first told me. They told me about Hex and stuff, and they're like, it's a certificate of deposit. Went over my head. I was so financially inept. I didn't even know I didn't know what a certificate of deposit was. I didn't know a CD was even a thing at a bank. I thought you just put your money there and you had a checking or savings account. Nobody ever taught me these things.
Isn't that funny? Like, how come we're not taught this in school?
Somebody told me it was a CD when they first, and I was like, all right, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It took me so long to understand what Hex was. And then once I got it, it's insane.
People that don't know, most people in crypto, the idea of something being immutable on chain, nobody can cut it off. There's no admin keys or anything, just meaning that you can't stop this. Even the owner, Richard Hart, who created this, he can't stop it. This is going to be around forever. And to have something like a CD, a certificate of deposit, it basically monetizes your time. You can take your Hex and you can lock it up for a day, all the way up to 15 years. And that is gone. The Hex that you currently are locking up, that is burnt. And in its place, you get something called T-shares. We won't get, that's a big rabbit hole as well.
I have to say, like, already by everything that you're saying, and I know just from talking to certain friends, like there would already be people that are lost. Like it just it has to be broken down. And like I start by explaining Bitcoin, and then it's just like you understand, like people are getting to a point to where they grasp that, like, oh, okay, and there are these miners, and then I'm like, yeah, so they get the rewards, and then they dump it, they destroy the environment, all those talking points, and then I just let them know. I'm like, okay, so you understand that concept, you understand that these miners, they complete your transactions and they get rewards. They're literally minting their own rewards. Now, all that Hex is that, but instead, you're getting the rewards if you choose to stake. You don't even have to stake. There's no pressure to do that. So yeah, I'm slowly getting there at being able to talk to this with people who are as financially inept as I used to be. That's something that I really, really want to really get good at, is because now I can translate this product to people who have a financial IQ, who can understand what I'm saying, and just they know what a certificate of deposit is, they know what interest rates are, they know what the Federal Reserve is, and they have an idea of the game. I can explain to those people all day. But now what I really want to do is be able to bridge the gap of what this thing is, just so normal people can understand. What if you had a Hot Wheel that if you put it in the safe, it gave you more Hot Wheels? But the only thing is you have to keep it in that safe for however long that you said that you're going to do it. And so I get it in little layman's terms. I try to find whatever the person is passionate about. I'm like, okay, well, imagine you had that and it just gave you more of that. That pretty much gets people every time.
That's a great analogy, actually. I mean, it's the epitome of delayed gratification, especially when you're young. I mean, if you're a teenager in your 20s, even in your 30s, and you can just basically take your hex, you lock it away like you're talking about, and you get a yield from that. Look at it as interest. It's not really interest because a lot of countries don't like the word interest, but it really is yield. Every day you're getting more of your hex every single day. So if you lock it up a year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, you just keep your word. When the end of the 5 years or 10 years comes and you put 1,000 hex in there, you're going to get a lot more hex for that. So whatever the price of hex is, and this saved me from myself. I tell a story all the time. I'm so grateful for this because if I wouldn't have had my hex locked up I was in hex day one, and I got that ride all the way up from the 0.000 whatever, all the way up to the 50 cent mark. If I wouldn't have had my hex locked, I would have probably sold early. It's remarkable how it goes up 10,000x. It's really hard to put your mind around that number already. Yeah, but if something goes up 10x or 100x, your incentive to sell is really strong. But if it's locked up, it saves you from yourself. Imagine having Bitcoin in 2011, you locked it up until 2020. How great that would be. You saved basically the code and the contract saved you from yourself from spending early.
It's the thing that I'm really passionate about. And if I was a streamer, honestly, I will straight up just say this idea. I don't care if somebody steals it because I don't have the time. And I know that you couldn't do it as good as I could, but this is what you need to do. All right. I'm giving you this idea so somebody else can do it. You're going to start a YouTube channel. You're going to call it Free Play. All right. You're going to be an artist. And what you're going to do is you're going to translate these ideas, financial IQ, to artists. And this is your tagline. Instead of wasting your time waiting tables, working for money, learn how to make money work for you so that you're free to play.
Free play.
But that's all you do. And then you translate all these financial IQ ideas to, other artists and stuff. I think that's a really big niche that needs to happen. I just don't have the time. So somebody else go do that because it's a really great idea.
It's cool. I'm glad you're a part of the hex community, Kylr, honestly. And you're young. Even if you got a 15-year stake, I told Balliot Brand this. He's a young guy. He's like 26, so he's been in hex from day one. A 15-year stake for him, which is the longest you can do in hex. He's not even 40 years old when a 15-year stake ends. That's a lot of hex that he's accumulated. And obviously, you can do ladders all the way from 15 to 11 and 10 and 2, whatever. So people who are watching this are not familiar with hex or may not be familiar with crypto. You're only here because of Kylr or Geo or something that struck your fancy. Look into it. Reach out to me. I'd love to teach people about crypto and just give you the basics. Hex is something I think is superior. Richard Hart has created something amazing and is what really got me excited again for crypto. Are there any other cryptos that you like other than hex?
I just sticking with it. What's on my hat?
Nice. Pulsechain coming up. I know everybody's freaking out waiting.
No, I am straight up. And I will be completely transparent about it because I'm trying to break generational curses and everything. I'm so thankful for my family and that my mom, she gave me as much as I could so that I could kind of have a shot. But, I'm still doing everything on my own. I'm thankful at acting like paying my bills and stuff, but you'll get paid a lot at once. Unless you know how to use it, you'll just burn through it and stuff. And so I'm trying to really set myself up and be smart. And so with that, I've actually been I have like 3 little side hustles on top of all the acting that's going on and all the charity stuff. I'm stocking grocery shelves overnight from 10 a.m. to 6 in the morning, and then I'll wake up and then go from there and work at a farm. My cousin had a farm, and I've been harvesting and all that. And then doing acting stuff in between. So I'm working as much as I possibly can to get as much money as I can, buy into this dip and saved up for the Pulsechain launch. Because this community has been so amazing and just showed me the way that, yeah, nothing's going to happen overnight, but if you just keep working and you just keep doing, it's going to pay off. And so I know the plan, and I know that, you know, by me telling you this, you can see the path that I'm on, and everybody else hearing that's in the community will understand. But from people from the outside, it seems so crazy. My girlfriend will be like, why are you working so much? Why are you going and stocking shelves? Like, you just got paid this much from acting. I'm like, because that acting money doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. That's savings. I'm not touching that. That's not getting put into investments. I worked too hard for the acting money to put that into anything. All this stuff, like, I'm doing everything that I possibly can. And so I'm just so inspired and so incredibly thankful for this Hex community, because it really keeps me going. There's so many people that are just constantly inspiring, that if I was going through this bear market alone, I'd be like, what am I doing? Why am I working so hard? This just keeps going down. It just keeps going down. Just saying that I'm so incredibly thankful for just how much inspiration I constantly have every single day from everybody in this community. And I hope that I can give it back. I just want to give it all back.
It's stories like this is give back. Honestly, you know, when I hear your other streams talking about this and your passion and just being an all around good person, I think it means a lot, and it resonates with people, and they're drawn to stuff like that. Were you able to get into Pulsechain Sacrifice and PulseX?
Yeah, I did, and yeah, I feel lucky, but of course wasn't enough. I didn't know at the time what I was doing, so of course I'll try to put more. But I won't go away all my plans and everything, but I've been very, very thankful that I've got a very solid plan set up right now for what's happening.
Nice.
So I'm accumulating, baby.
We're early, brother. We are so early. I think if Pulsechain does what it's supposed to do, and there's no indication that it's not, I mean, it's taken a lot longer than anybody else, but I think Richard Hart wants to get it right. I've used testnet, and it works great. I can't wait to see what happens a year from now when you get Pulsechain like this and Hex is booming and it's rolling, and you get a lot of things that Richard Hart talked about, you know, the scammer stuff and Pulsechain taking forever. To have all that stuff out of the way and just have a blockchain like that, layer one, that's working, and a PulseX and the exchange is working. I just can't wait to see what crypto is like when we get a bull market and Pulsechain is working like it's supposed to. We'll look back at videos like this and amazed at how early we are. And hopefully videos like this, people understand how early they are, and they can look into Pulsechain and learn about it and just study crypto. If Pulsechain and Hex is not your thing, that's fine. At least it lights a fire and makes you aware of crypto, so you can at least learn about this and maybe get into it if you want to. So
you end up learning when you start to pay attention to money, because money doesn't lie. I used to always think I was so punk rock. I grew up a skateboarder. I used to always think I was sticking it to the man, like, fuck the system, you know. I was always like super hardcore, I thought. But no, like, the most punk rock thing that you really can do is learn about your finances and not let the government legally, you know, lighten your tax burden as much as you can legally, so that they can't take your money and do things like drone strikes and all these terrible things that we know that they're doing with our money. That's the biggest FU that you can give the government, I think. And so you start to learn things about money, and you realize, like, we need things like crypto, things that are truly peer-to-peer, because now they'll freeze people's bank accounts. Like, regardless of how you feel about the trucker situation and quarantine and stuff, in Canada, they froze people's bank accounts if you donated to truckers, the trucker convoy, because they were protesting certain things. I'm not putting my opinion on there. All I'm saying is it's a scary precedent, because then what if you're 10 years from now, you have one political party, they're like, you donated to Black Lives Matter, or you donated to the Freedom Convoy. It doesn't matter which side it is. It's the same precedent that you're setting, and it's terrible to have somebody have that power. And so we need money that the government doesn't control. So there's just these so very basic things that you learn once you start paying attention to money. It's like, wow.
yeah, and it's something you don't really think about it when you're young. You know, you think you got tons of time, and that's one of the last things that you really want to learn about. It's not fun to dive into that when there's so many other things that are exciting all around you. But it's awesome, man. I'm so glad that you're into this and into finance, and your eyes are open. And now's the time to accumulate the years, you know, your 20s and 30s. If you can accumulate things and really have assets work for you in the future, that's the way to be wealthy, not rich. If you come across, you know, 100 grand all at one time, that's great, but you need to find something that's going to sustain it. How does it pay you when you're not working today, when you're going to sleep, when you're on vacation? Are you still able to get paid every day, every minute? You got to have something working for you. So crypto is really unique in that. We're at an unprecedented time in human history where the kind of assets and the kind of financial stuff that we're talking about, it's right here. All you have to do is just learn about it, educate yourself. I'm glad I had you on the show, man. We would talk about a bunch of stuff from crypto to acting and your movies and stuff. So how do people find you if they want to reach out to find out what you're doing? What do you have coming up? Is there anything that you can tell us right now that you're working on?
Yeah, so right now my main focus is this charity effort. Right now that is all my focus. Going into the new year, I'll have pilot season starting, and I have a couple of little things pinned right now. A lot of NDAs, so I can't talk, but I feel very thankful that I have a great team behind me. My agents and managers are like family to me. Yeah, I just feel so very, very thankful, and I know that I'm still at the start of my career. There's so much to achieve. And as far as keeping up with me, at Kylr Coffman is just my handle on socials. I'm more active on Instagram. Twitter is exclusively for crypto and to learn about crypto. But I'm actually very, very active on Instagram. And I'm trying to get more hexagons over there. So if you guys are on Instagram, at Kylr Coffman.
Nice. And KylrCoffman.com.
Yeah. If you want to keep up with me, you can just go to KylrCoffman.com. It has links there to the charity efforts, to my IMDb, to my Instagram, to my Twitter, to anything that you guys could really want.
Nice. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure having you on. It's so nice. I was telling you earlier, I think it was in the green room, just putting a face with someone, being able to look someone in the eyes and talk to them and have kind of a free flowing, long form conversation like this. I love it. It really gives someone a glimpse into someone's personal life. And I'd love to have you back one day.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to be back. Thank you for your time, and thanks for having me, Matty.
You're welcome, man. Have a good night. See you. If you want to reach out to Kylr, KylrCoffman.com. It's KYLR Coffman. Again, this is Matty Crypto. This is the Pulsechain Podcast. If you guys want to reach out to me for anything we talked about, crypto related, or how to reach out to Kylr or anything, it's Real Matty Crypto on Twitter. I care about you guys. Have a fantastic night. I will catch you on the B side.